Welcome back to Frogboy X1 Gaming. I'm Andrew, and today we are celebrating 2 weeks with PSVR 2. And I still feel just as excited about it as I did the day I got it. So, let's go over my update after 2 weeks. This thing is so good. I spent another $1,000 on a Fanatec DD Pro so I could play Gran Turismo 7. Yes, it is that immersive of an experience to where I am fully on board and willing to put my money where my mouth is. Now, I'm not even going to lie, I haven't really went back and played too much of the other stuff, like Swordsman, Kayak, Call of the Mountain, or, Resident Evil 8. I have just been so immersed in GT7 playing in VR that I just, I'll get around to those games when I get around to them. Right now, I am fully on board with the GT experience. This game is literally, I don't know how to, I really don't know how to express my gratitude and my gratefulness for just what Polyphony was able to accomplish bringing this to VR. Not only is it fast, well, let's break this down. It is fast and incredible. So I've been going through and I've been buying these GT Vision cars, and I've just been driving them. Tonight, I jumped in I did a 4-hour live stream. That's how good PSVR 2 is. I get in it and I get immersed, and I just want to keep playing and keep playing and keep playing. It's really good. So like I was just saying, I've been buying these Vision GT cars, and I'll be driving those. Tonight okay. When you get into the slower cars, it does feel a lot more redundant. It kind of slows down the experience. For me, I mean, that's fine. That it is fine. If I was going through it and doing the menu books or something, if I was beginning from the beginning of the game going up, I think that even that still is immersive enough to give you an experience. You don't know what you're missing when it comes to VR until you are sitting in the car and you're driving and you're looking out your mirrors and you're looking at your dashboard and you're watching the fuel gauge, just turning off all the HUD, turn off the complete HUD, and just fully immerse yourself in the experience. It really is a transitional experience from a 2D screen playing a racing game to going to VR. My first experience with VR racing was Gran Turismo Sport on PSVR 1. And while that one there did not hit the mark even a little bit, I was just whoa, this is super underwhelming. It's not that great. You're not racing against other cars or anything like that. I mean, there was one other person that you could race against. It just wasn't that experience. But I kept trying it. I kept trying the racing. I played some dirt rally on PSVR 1, and that was, oh boy, that one would make you very sick when you would wreck and whatever else. The thing with PSVR 1 is you had to position yourself at the right spot. And that wasn't that fun, to be completely honest with you. And I did have a racing wheel set up back then. I had a T150 or something, and I was playing around with that, but I didn't really care for it much. So fast forward to MetaQuest 2. So MetaQuest 2, after having a PC, I was able to get in there and truly experience some really good sim racing with with the sim rig and a set of Corsa Competizione, because basically almost every racing game that comes to PC actually comes with a VR experience. So you'll be able to get those games and be able to play them, like a MetaQuest 2 or a standard PC VR headset. But I'll tell you right now, man, the experience is good. My favorite PC VR racing sim is Dirt Rally 2.0. Simply incredible. The sense of speed is there. It's fast. It's fun. It's really good. But when you bring Gran Turismo 7 into the mix, not only do you get HDR support, you get, the high refresh screen, you get actually surprisingly good visuals for what the PS5, has to offer. So when you're in there and you're playing it, um, the immersion is just incredible. It's simply incredible. I cannot get enough of it. And like I said, I invested another $1,000 into a sim racing setup just so I could play Gran Turismo 7. And there's plenty of options out there that I could have got, much cheaper, that would have just worked for Gran Turismo. But I needed something that would work for PC as well as Xbox, down the road, so that I'm not just continuing to just spend a whole bunch of money on different equipment. I think I found the one though. This Fanatec started off a little rocky. I was really struggling with it on the PlayStation 5 the other day, but I think I've got everything dialed in pretty good now to where it feels like a pretty solid experience. With Gran Turismo, I can have it set at maximum power, but most of the other games, it just kind of feels better at 70%. I just set it at 70% power, and everything else, feels pretty good. The more I play with it, the more I get into it, the more I learn about it, the more I try and move around settings. I think I'll be able to nail the experience and get better. I'm not one of those kind of guys that likes to adopt somebody else's settings when it comes to sim racing. Like, I tried that when I first started, and I stuck with that so long in, what was it? WRC 8, that when WRC, like, I stuck with it for a whole year, and it was such a miserable experience for me that when WRC 9 finally came out, I finally just decided I'm going to set my own settings, and I found something that worked a little bit better. I put those on WRC 8, and man, it was better. So now I force myself to try to figure out things myself when it comes to sim racing. I'm not, there's plenty of like really cool suggestions out there, but I do try to find those myself now. I don't like to listen to anybody else because it's not that I don't try to listen to anybody else, but I like to sit down and I'm that kind of person that I overthink things a lot. I think about things too much. So I need to sit there and I need to play with things. I need to know what the settings do for each individual thing. So I need to play with them myself, and I need to find something that works for me, because what's good for somebody else isn't always good for the next person, and with the Fanatec wheel, they have a pretty decent like auto settings, thing that you can get in there. But the auto settings thing is, that I found out, just by plugging and playing with the PlayStation 5 the other day when I first got it for, like 5 hours or whatever. Man, it was terrible. It was terrible for me. I was getting very frustrated with the experience, and trying to do everything on the little screen. I just wanted to play some Gran Turismo 7, and I was starting to get frustrated. So then when I I went to work, came back the next day on Friday, I was able to get in there and actually start playing around with the settings on the PC and stuff, and like moving things around. And the first thing I tried was setting it to 70. Everything started feeling better. Well, I played all day yesterday doing all of that, and that felt great. Then today, I dug even a little further, and now I'm starting to find that some games, yes, 70%. And it didn't matter if I had it, 100% and then set the game at 70. No, I had to set the game at 70, and then I had to set the wheel itself at 70, and then actually go in there and adjust the force feedback and other settings even more on top of that. So some games are fine with the full, but I've found that some games run good at maximum settings, and some of them just run better at a lower overall setting for the force feedback on that. I'm still dialing it in. I'll still make tons of videos. I'm at where I'm at right now with the Fanatec is, yes, I definitely recommend buying this. It is probably the best setup that you're going to be able to find for your consoles, and be able to get support all the way around. I do think it is your best option, but I would go with the PlayStation base, just so that you only have to buy an Xbox wheel to get maximum compatibility with everything. So that's where I'm sitting right now with Fanatec. I do recommend it. It's an incredible experience. The more I sit here and the more I dial it in. I was actually just on some Dirt Rally 2.0 on the PC, dialing it in even more, and oh my gosh, it just feels like it feels so good. It feels so good. I'm not trying to oversell this thing. It is expensive. but it is what you should be aiming for if that is what you're wanting to. PSVR 2 has really blown me away. This is the happiest I've been with PlayStation this generation. I'm 100% on board. I want to see Assetto Corsa Competizione come to PSVR 2. I want to see WRC, the new one that's coming out this year from Codemasters. I want that to come with a VR mode day one. There's the new F1 that's coming to PSVR 2. I want to see that with a VR mode. I'll probably end up picking up these games that are coming with VR modes. There's some other VR games that I'm thinking about picking up. I know you guys were asking about Switchback. Had I not bought this, I probably would have already had it, and I would have already been working on a review or videos on that. But seeing as I just spent $1,000 on this, and I got to pick up Resident Evil, I got Resident Evil for next week. Switchback is something that maybe the week after I might be able to pick up and check it out for you guys. I do want to do more VR games for you. I do want to pick up some more of these games. I want to check them out. Saints and Sinners is getting an update that's going to have a $10 upgrade fee for me. So I'll end up picking that up. I'll play around with that one. Hopefully I'll see if I can maybe swing that the Switchback this week sometime. I just don't know, and I'm gonna be really busy with Resident Evil, plus the VR content that I'm still making with Gran Turismo 7, and just doing like more videos for the Fanatec wheel because I'm pretty excited about it now. I was lost in a weird train of thought when I first got it, but I'm glad that's over. I'm glad that's passed. I'm glad that my experience has gotten so much better over the last couple of days just sitting there playing with it. I'm satisfied. I'm very satisfied with it. Like getting in there and like playing with these settings and like really starting to figure things out and, you know, reading what they do and then trying them out and seeing how it feels, you know, just incrementally just playing around with this stuff. It really does fine-tune the experience, and that's the thing, man. If you're going to get into sim racing, I highly recommend that this is something that you really start to focus on. Play around with it for a couple of years, you know, get used to it, get used to the equipment and how it's feeling, and then you really should kick away the crutches and start figuring these things out on your own so that you know your equipment and you know your games so that you can fine-tune them the best way possible so that you really enjoy them. That's the only way you're going to get better at it. And it's something that it is going to take time. It is very time consuming. Like I could post settings and all of that stuff all day long, but what works for me might not be good for you. Some people like a really heavy wheel. I don't really necessarily like a heavy wheel. I like it to be more in between, you know, like not heavy, you know, not super light. I don't want it to feel like there's no force feedback, but at the same time, I don't want it like yanking my hands every time I turn a corner and stuff. I don't really like that. I want it to feel more. I'm trying to get my stuff dialed in to where it feels like I'm driving a car. And the Camus, I really had that thing dialed in after a month and a half of using that. Or about a month, about a month and a week, maybe a month and 2 weeks of using that. I finally had it dialed in to where it felt so good, and now I'm starting all over again with the Fanatec. It's frustrating sometimes. It really is. But the PSVR 2 has simply been great. I can't get enough of this thing, man. I love playing on it. I love this new stand that I got from it from Oivo. This stand is great. Like I can literally just stick my hand right in there, pick up the controllers, and they're ready to go. And that's great. I mean, I had it plugged in for a while, but I unplugged it to plug in my controller. But it's pretty cool, man. I like the fact that these things are coming out and they make and it just makes everything so much nicer. So, like I said, I will start covering some more of these VR experiences as time frees up. That's pretty much what's preventing me. You know, I just spent all this money on this, so I'm trying to get that thing, you know, all situated. It's been 2 weeks and all I've craved is wanted to play as Gran Turismo 7. And now I finally got that. And now I'm trying to work on reviewing this wheel and getting everything set up. And at the same time, I'm wanting to play Gran Turismo 7. And it's been frustrating, man. It's been very time consuming. So I want you to know that like next weekend will be Resident Evil weekend. Probably won't do a lot of racing or or VR content. It will all be pretty much Resident Evil 4 throughout the weekend. Got to try to get that one beat and get the review and everything up for that, because that's one of my most anticipated games this year. So I will be working on that one to completion, and I'm very happy about that. But as it sits right now, man, if you're on the fence about PSVR 2, man, I'm seeing some good stuff coming. There's this fighter plane game that's coming out, like the old Spitfires and stuff, like the old propeller type planes, the old warplanes from like the 40s and 50s and stuff. And this game's coming out, and that looks incredible. I definitely want to play that. I want to buy that one. I want to play that one. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, there's these things that are coming out, and I'm probably going to end up possibly getting like the flight stick for that one as well. Maybe this Resolution 1 thing will work with my PS5 so that I can use the flight stick that I already bought. But if not, that's gonna suck. But there's so many experiences that are coming out for PSVR 2 that are definitely better than what they were before. Like last generation PSVR, yeah, you could definitely call that like the demo headset that was to demo off, the new stuff that Sony was going to bring. And it did a good enough job. It did a good enough job. Right now, though, this is a I feel that PSVR 2 is more of a full-fledged system with full-fledged games that are going to be able to entertain you and be able to get the job done far better than the preceding, than the headsets before. MetaQuest 2 is also another freaking awesome option. MetaQuest 2 is great. My kids and my wife, they love playing it, like the Beat Saber, stuff like that. But I feel like PSVR 2 is a much more advanced type of gaming experience. So I do stand behind PSVR 2. I really like this system. I think it's great. Yeah, the cost is definitely high, but it is worth it. It is worth it. The cost of the PSVR 2 is worth it, but the cost is also gonna slow the market for this thing. It definitely is. If it was like $399, I think they'd be flying off the shelves, but $550, that is a lot to ask for something that potentially you might not like. And then there's a lot of people that are having problems with the mirror in their headsets. I'm grateful that doesn't affect me. That hasn't affected me. I've had a pretty smooth experience with PSVR 2. And I like that. Like I really do appreciate that my experience has been good with it. So hopefully if you decide to jump on board, hopefully it's worth it for you. I guarantee if you're a Gran Turismo 7 lover, you need to play this in VR. You need to play this in VR. You will 100% be like, whoa. It is very immersive. It is very fun to play, and it is very comfortable to sit there for hours with this headset on. Just pop in your earphones, jump in there, go to town, and like before you know it, man, like the whole day is gone, and you have just played games like you were in your freaking teens, man. It's awesome. So if you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching.